I have been speaking about population control since I was a young boy. Listening to my father John talk about sustainability. The ladies called him John D. And I am appalled to find that people aren't concerned with the overexploitation of the Earth's natural resources, including energy and water. They did not heed my warnings about pollution and toxicity. So, when I press this button, simultaneously, toxic fumes and a pandemic-causing disease will be released all over the world. Now, before you think about calling me names or saying I'm a bad person, I want you to consider this. They're better off dead anyway. He's right! He's right! They're better off dead anyway! Oh, John! Oh, you're right! You and David! Oh, you're my heroes! Clear up the road! Free up the stores at the mall! Buy me more jewelry!
So there's a lot of people who say that the shootings in the news are really staged events and that they didn't happen in the first place. Now, they happen to bring up some very interesting points. I don't agree with them about that, but I do agree that there are people who are actors and actresses who are planted on the scene when they know that someone they have targeted is going to commit a crime. In fact, these people are around just in case the target commits a crime. They're part of the psyop. So when the guy does the shooting, they have actors already there, and the news selects those people to speak on what is going on. Now, I've seen this firsthand, the few political events I've been in my life, where I see the news go to interview people who look like they're already expecting to be on the news. They're already dressed up, like they know that they're going to be on the news, and the news reporters will go right to them. It's like they picked them out ahead of time. Sometimes I'll even see them talking to them in the beginning, from the start. They say, look, these people right here. And no, they're not picked because they're presentable. They went there extra presentable, knowing that the news was going to pick them to tell the story. This is a common tactic by quote-unquote investigative journalists and reporters and what have you. So the Orlando shooter, he was provoked, and there's a good chance that he was gay. I remember when I first saw his picture, I said, this guy looks gay. Okay, he looks like a homosexual. He has that kind of, fruity look where he was wearing a do-rag or something like that on his head, and he's taking the selfie. I have a picture on one of my videos. This guy looks very, very gay. So I just wanted to really briefly touch on that. That's what's going on these days, man. It's all set up ahead of time. The shootings are real. And I think it's very interesting that these people come up with the idea that shooting is fake. At first I thought maybe these people might be, just disinformation people, so that when people look at the opposition view, they'll be like, oh, you're one of those people who think the shooting is fake. That might still be the case. But now I'm thinking there's a good chance that these people actually think the shooting is fake, and the crisis actors are what throws them off. When really those people are chosen for their ability to present a false narrative and come off as genuine or genuinely concerned. And this Orlando shooting hoax, case closed, 100% fake, agenda exposed, in parentheses, Red Silver J. He brought up that Lady Gaga was speaking at the vigil or something like that, right? Lady Gaga, we all know she doesn't give a shit. I mean, these people are a bunch of occultists, a bunch of Satanists. They probably don't even care about the people in their own family, much less, these people, even though they were LGBT people, and she's represents for that community, whether you see it that way or not. She's a sicko. They're sickos. And it's very sad, very sad how we let a bunch of gay atheists in mental health, who on record are eugenicists, define, what is socially normative and what is crazy talk and crazy thinking and what you're allowed to feel. I mean, it is absolutely repulsive. No one is more disgusted by it than I am, So me personally, I think that we need to get a hold on this whole thing. And we need to, I personally think that mental health needs to be shut down completely, and people need to turn to churches. I see it as something that is so far gone. The medicines don't work, they just kill people. These psychologists are a bunch of anti-Christian scum in a predominantly Christian society. I see it as such a destructive force in society, and the history of psychiatric abuse, the history of them participating with eugenicists coming out flat out and saying that whites and Asians are superior, and we have a bunch of white, Asians, and Jews in mental health who are gay eugenicists, shrinks and psychologists and what have you. And they come out flat out and say their race is superior. What do you think? Where do you think they're going with this? We see blacks are disproportionately targeted with psychiatry to help them try to prove these lies. We see them ignore the volumes of evidence that they're wrong because they are so far gone. I mean, why would somebody, ignore the volumes of evidence? I mean, tons. I've come across tons, so much evidence I can't keep up with it, that they're wrong. And there's no evidence that they're right. It's all fabricated, exaggerated nonsense. And I've gone over this time and time again. Why would they ignore it? Well, there's two reasons. One is they really want their race to populate the world, but why would they care to do that? It goes to the second option. They're evil. Their philosophy is evil. Because why would you care to make it so your race populates the world and you make another race extinct? Why wouldn't it be enough for you that you just secure the future for your race? You don't honestly believe that they think that blacks and Arabs and other, Hispanics and natives are a threat to the future of their race, to the future existence of their ethnic group and races. No, they don't think that. They're just evil. They are Satanists. And no matter how much these Satanists talk about their ethical code, ethical Satanism, and stuff, that's nonsense. You people are sickos. I've done tons of research, and there's tons of evidence that would suggest that you're sickos, and then there's evidence that definitively proves that you're sickos. There's no way around it. You are sick in the head. And of course, you're not going to listen to reasonable people such as myself, especially because a lot of us you're trying to drug and play out. Speaking of that, stop the covert drugging of the top martial arts, is what it says on the bottom. Stop it. Okay? You're wrong. You're evil, you're wrong. Stop sabotaging African people because we outperform you. Okay? Stop sabotaging West African immigrants and their children because we outperform you on record. You can't turn back the hands of time and make it so you kick the blacks out of Africa. You lost, you went to the snow and the desert. Stop pretending like you didn't. Stop drugging African immigrants and black people. Stop oppressing black people to prove your nonsensical point. You're wrong. Of all the immigrants who come here from war zones and poverty and destitution, West Africans, especially Nigerians, perform the best. We are on the rise in sports as we come over. Okay? We outperform you, mind, body, and soul. We're closer to God. We're more educated. We're better athletes. Okay? Stop trying to sabotage us. I promise you that if we ever become the ruling class, which I doubt, we're not going to sterilize you and do all this horrible stuff that you did to us. You know what kind of monsters you think we are? What, you think we're like you? No, we're better than you. And we're certainly better than that. Stop trying to sabotage us. Stop drugging me because you're mad that my race outperforms yours. Stop it. It is pathetic. And no, I'm not African American. I am a second generation Igbo. Stop drugging the people, the people from the bloodlines that you think are superior according to your own scale, so you can create a world of white, Asian, and Jewish supremacy. Stop it. Okay, it's not fair. It's not right. It's sick. Start using these sickos. And don't forget that these Nigerians who come here, they're not atheists. They're not homosexuals. These people you see outperforming every other group, they're Christians and Catholics. Yes, Christians outperform every other group. And then they're going to turn around and say, well, these Christians are so ignorant and they want to oppress us with their Bible and so on, and it creates ignorant people. No, we are outperforming all of you. Atheist Jews, Buddhist Asians, we are outperforming all of you. And no matter how much you sabotage us in the future, you can never change this period of time that we live in now where we outperformed all of you. The top martial artist isn't one of the countless Asians in America. He's a black Christian. The number one group of people, political, ethnic group, racial group that outperforms every other one isn't white, Asian, or Jewish. It is Nigerian and Kenyan and West African, and they are Christians for the most part. Stop being little namby-pamby scum and admit we have a superior philosophy, and you cannot claim racial supremacy. And you know why I'm not going to claim racial supremacy? Because I'm not a sicko. You know why I'm not going to recommend we sterilize all these other races for what you people did? Even though whites and Jews and Asians have teamed up to do all these horrible experiments and all this horrible sterilization and eugenics and all this horrible stuff. All this evil, Mao, Stalin, Hitler, Pol Pot. These aren't black people. These are whites, Asians, and Jews. Mass murdering trash. Rothschild and all his secret society, occult, satanic ritual abuse and their network and these Talmudic scumbags. I'm not going to say let's sterilize them, even though you've done millions of times worse, when it comes to crimes against humanity and mass murder, mass drugging. I'm not going to say let's sterilize them to keep people safe. But for little petty shoplifting and bitch shit like that, you want to sterilize African Americans. You are sickos who refuse to acknowledge the facts. You refuse to use the same scale. And don't forget that over there in the UK, it's the same thing in America. That blacks, West African immigrants are outperforming every race. This isn't some sort of American phenomenon. This isn't some sort of a coincidence. We come here and kick your ass in your own fucking language. In your own fucking culture. Okay, no matter how much you drug us and sabotage us and discriminate against us in school, we will always have these statistics to rub in your sniveling face, and you have no excuse. Look at me, you pussy. You have no fucking excuse. And if you want to insist on using your scale, I want you to look into the fucking mirror. That is an inferior coward. They cannot defeat even though he cheats. A punk, a little slug. They can't win even though he drug. Punk ass motherfucker. Look at me. You're a punk. I'm the fucking top martial artist. You're bitches. You're inferior scum when you use your own scale. So fuck you. You can't make this up. I'm sure you all know who this guy is. It goes without saying.
I've also asked the school board to make a part of every day some kind of anti-violence, anti-gun message. Every day, every school, at every level. One thing that I think is clear with young people and with adults as well is that we just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way. So
don't forget that these people use their eugenicists network in California and liberal states especially to take guns away. My gun rights have been taken away over petty bitch shit. They get taken away before you even reach the psych ward. If a police officer, who we all know, doesn't know shit about shit, hell, psychiatrists don't know what they're talking about. Imagine a pig. You know, they don't even see what's going on. They all admit when they get here, I'm acting very calm and logical. They take me to the psych ward. You know, I lose my gun rights before I even get there for 5 years, and almost nobody, pretty much nobody who's ever lost their gun rights in a 5150 in California ever gets them back. And think about that. Meanwhile, the world is too busy looking at topless Kim Kardashian and Kanye West and Taylor Swift and stupid shit. You know? I guarantee you, America is run by sicko criminals who want your guns so they can harass you without worrying about you blasting them for it. That's number one. Number two, they want to cover all, you know, the bases and dot every I, cross every T, make sure that there cannot be a revolution that targets the elite. That's their main concern, the survival of the ruling class. They pretty much don't care about anyone but the ruling class and their think tanks. Everyone else is expendable to these people. You know, they've been doing eugenics and experimentations on mind control and all this stuff for a long time in order to bring in a world where there's a very small population and you have a very small population of workers and a bigger population of think tanks and super rich people, and they have a bunch of robots filling in the gaps. That is what they're going for. You people think it's paranoid talk, it's sci-fi and blah, blah, blah. Look at the history of unethical experimentation in America. I'll put it in the comments. Look at the history of eugenics. This is not just a theory of mine. This is what they've said flat out. They said, we want to massively reduce the world's population because it's unsustainable. And you think they're just going to let think they're going to have a raffle for who gets to live and who gets to die? No, they're going to keep the type of people they think are necessary. Think of this as a ship, okay, that is way down in their eyes. Whether it is sinking or not in their minds,